everyone, welcome back to RTS and welcome back to our 4 for 4 series layout number 3, and I hope you're having fun in this series. I will tell you I really am. I think it's because of the papers I chose for this round. I love the colors, of course, and then also too it's helping me prepare for another trip I have coming up. So when you're scrapbooking about a trip before you go on another trip, it just makes you excited. Okay, so let's get started with layout number 3. And of course, in this summer round, we're doing 2-page layouts, but you don't have to, so just keep that in mind. And then also, you can always rinse and repeat the same thing we're doing later on your own and share over at Deborah's Facebook group. And then also to just use different papers. Playing with pre-cut papers is so much fun. So up on the block today is we are going to be playing with the band design, and listed below will be a go-to design, the band, a long video, so you can hop over and watch that if you want more talk about the band, and then a start to finish video that we did right after that go-to design talking more about the band. So let's talk about the pieces of paper that we're going to use for layout number 3. And there's my cheat sheet. I'm amazed how many times I have to look at that piece of paper. True story. Okay, so for our, of course, you're going to have your background piece, whatever you choose to. I am using white the entire series, and also too because this is the same trip, so it gives you a little bit of continuity in your album because they're all going to have the same pieces of paper in the background. Okay, so then we are going to start with our paper number 1, and we're going to grab 2 of those, and they are going to be 1.5 by 12. Okay, 2 1.5 by 12, and then we're not even going to use paper number 2 in this layout, so no number 2 unless you want to, absolutely. For our paper number 3, it's a 7 by 12. It's a big honking piece of paper, and then a little wimpy 1/2 by 12 in your pattern number 4. Okay, so that'll be for the left. So if you're a 2-page gal, we're going to do the same thing again, but I'm going to go over them. Okay, so our paper number 1 is going to be 2 1.5 by 12. 2 1.5 by 12 right there. And then of course our number 3 paper is going to be our 7 by 12, and then our number 4 paper, that little 1/2 by 12. So of course that would be 4 pieces of paper on the right, 4 pieces of paper, 4 pieces of paper on the left, 4 on the right, 8 papers total. And then also too, we're going to try to get 10 photos on a 2-page spread. Hallelujah. Yes, absolutely. That's what we're going to try, okay? But if you want to do more than 10, please do so. If you want to use less than 10, please do so. Okay, so the very basic design of a band is quite simple. You just have a band of paper. Okay, let me get this in the middle. You know how it is to line things up. Yes, absolutely. Okay, always have to move a million things. Okay, so the simple form of a band is you take a band of paper, and this is a 7 by 12. That's a nice size band of paper, and you put it in the middle. There you go. There's your design. And then of course with our 2 pieces of paper, these are the 1/2 by 12. You can put one at the top, one at the bottom, and wham bam, there you go. Okay, same thing on the right. We're gonna put that there. Okay, then you can alternate them. Okay, and then you have a 1/2 by 12. So there's so many things you can do with this. You could put it at the top, put one at the bottom. Okay, very pretty. That's just a nice design. Look how quick that is. That's the band. And then you can play with these strips. Okay, this 1.5 by 12 and this 1/2 by 12, whatever you want to do. You can also put it down here. Now, I think my balls are going in one direction. Oh, wow. My mine went to the gutter. Sorry. Yeah, it really went to the gutter. Moving on. But again, I'm going to put that piece of paper in a certain way. Isn't it amazing what sometimes just one little word can make you go into a giggle fit? Oh well, that's the fun of being a woman. Absolutely. Okay, so there we are. You can take this 1/2 by 12 and just move it around to wherever you like. And then also too, you don't even have to put it on a page. You can take it off. You can double it up. You can put both on the right, or you can divvy it up, put one on the left, one on the right. Have fun with that. Okay, the same way with these. Now also too, remember that if you put an edge punch in your kit, that anything that's in the strip, run it through your edge punch, that just gives you more decorative look. And then also too, don't forget, you can use that edge punch and take your washi or leftover pieces of paper or anything of your bonus sheets and create even more design on your page. So that is very, very pretty. Okay, so that's the very basics of a design. You start with the band. You start with the band in the middle, and then you work your way up or down, okay, using whatever you have in your kit, whether it's your washi, your edge punches, your extra paper, your border strips, all that fun stuff, okay? So now let's play around a little bit more, okay? Is that you can take this band, okay, and then you can shift everything up to the top, okay, as much as you want or not. And then also two of these pieces, remember, you can overlap as much as you want or you don't have to. If you like to fill your background up, then just take these papers and butt them up side by side, okay? That fills up your paper because this is a 1.5, a 1.5, and this is 7. So that's 10 inches covered right there, okay? And then you can do the same thing with the right, and then, but you can shift everything down, okay? So there you go. You have your left shifted up, your right shifted down, and then you have these two extra pieces. Now this is a darker blue paper, so the weight of this paper has more substantial look to it. Meaning, if you hold it up to a piece of white paper, this bottom piece, this blue, feels heavier because it has more of a weight. So you could put that at the bottom, okay? And then you could put something like this. You know, if you want to do an edge design, you could put that at the top. I mean, you could just keep playing here. playing and playing, and then just alternate. Okay, you can just keep having fun. And then the simplest thing is, too, is that you can take your washi, when you're playing with the band and the happy horizontal, you can simply take your washi and run that completely across your page for another band of paper. Absolutely. Using that washi. You can put it on cardstock or just go directly to paper. Fun to do. You can get a lot of fun layers using your washi, because even though this paper here, number 1, is 1.5, this paper number 3 is a 7 by 12, and this is another 1.5 and 1.5, you can fill this complete paper up and just keep, you could add some washi. You see what I'm saying? You could keep adding washi, keep adding washi, keep adding border strippers. Oh, gee, I did it again. Okay, border strippers, there we go. We're going to take our border strippers. Gee whiz. Oh my goodness. Border strippers, border strippers. There, I said it again. Border strippers. You can take your border strips and fill up. I can't believe it. How, I'm just going to keep going. The gals have said leave the bloopers in, so there's another blooper. A blooper and a blunder. Oh, did it again. You can take these lovely little piece of border strippers and you can just fill up the back of your paper till you don't see any of your background paper. I mean, there's just no wrong way to do that. And you can see that I'm adding in a decorative edge. I'm adding in washi. I'm adding in pieces that already have text to them. There's just no way. There's just no way you can do this wrong. It's really just about having fun and playing. Okay, so that is the band. You can put it in the middle. You can shift it up. You can shift it down. And I'm totally sidetracked right now. Well, you know what? That's what we're going to do. We're just going to call them border strippers. And I'm not even going to I'm just going to keep on going, because you know how your brain works. Once you get something in your brain, it's hard to get it out of there. So border strippers it is. Let's have some fun with our border strippers. Can you imagine if my hubby walked by and heard me say that? Oh, okay, keep on going. So that's your band in the middle. But however, what you can do then, if you don't want to shift it up, you don't want to shift it down, how about that we rotate, okay? And that is a really fun band. I mean, just look how different that looks. And all we simply did was just turn the paper. Fun, okay? So then what you can do then is you could take two of these. You could put them over there at the top, or over there at the top. You could put them over there to the left. Okay, play with that. Okay, or you could put all these together just like that. Oh, that's fun. Okay, and the same way here. We could take that band and put that 7 by 12 in the middle. Now you'll notice that my 7 by 12, I have those 2 notches. I have to keep I have to keep an eye on that because I'm gonna have to cover that up. So we're gonna take those 1.5 by 12s, and then we can take that 1/2 by 12. So there you just took your band and you put it in the middle of your paper in a vertical sense rather than horizontal. So there's no wrong way to do that. Now this is something I've showed. Oh, and then don't forget, if you have an edge punch, keep on going. Isn't that a pretty way to introduce your page and end your page with that edge punch? Very, very pretty. Now, this is something I've talked about a lot when we talk about fast pages. If you want a fast double page, here's what you do. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Move all that over. When you take that band of paper and you meet it in the middle, I mean, that's a quick 2-page. And this gives you the landscape for a lot of photos, because in this one, we're going to do 10. Okay. So I'm not quite sure how my page is going to be. I always like to show options. So I'm going to play around with my papers a little bit, and then we'll come back. But when it comes to the band, you can go horizontal, you can go vertical, you can go in, you can go out, okay? Or you can do a mixture. Who says that whatever you do here, okay, if I put my band here, I can leave my band right there in the middle. I mean, it's just very fun. It just looks like bands of paper going across. Very, very fun. There's no wrong way to do this. And then also, you can get in more layers with your edge punches, your border strippers, and also to your washi. You just keep on building these layers, because I could honestly leave this here on the right. I put my band right here to the inseam, and I moved my band over here more to the right. I could keep going, and I could just have fun playing with washi on this inseam. And I could just keep on going till I meet up with my red paper. You see what I'm saying? It's just fun. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. It's just simply fun. There, look at that. Isn't that the sound of washi coming off a roll? Doesn't that just sound pretty? I just love it. So you could take this and you could keep repeating with your rows of washi to create a band. It just doesn't end. Or if you have an edge punch you really like, who's to say you can't keep going with an edge punch and just keep running those strips of paper down for a band? There's just no wrong way. Just having fun. Okay, so when I come back, I'm going to be playing with the band. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do, because I have 10 photos, and my photos are right here. Some are in 4x6, because remember what I said last time, that when I print, and if I'm not sure, I will print in a 4x6, and there was a couple, I think it was, again, Fuddruckers, because there's a couple stories to do with Fuddruckers, but it was just a place that made me sad, but then I really enjoyed the food. It was just, I don't know, it was just something, I guess I was hungry for, a burger, and whatever they call this half and half, the fries and the onion rings. I'm not really into either one of those, but it was really good, okay? It tasted like beach food, if that makes sense. So, of course, I didn't know if I wanted it in a 4x6. It has a story, but I might do the 4x6, because, or, the wallet, because I used a 4x6 in the last one. And so if I'm not sure, in a case, this here, I'll show you right here. So on this trip, one thing that my husband and I did is that we went for a mani-pedi as a couple time. His idea, not mine, because I'm not into either one of those, but he enjoys that, okay? Now, you would think for a man who is over 6 foot tall, and he's a man, but he enjoys his mani and pedi. So can you imagine? I think every man in my life, they all like manicures. They just do. Manicures and pedicures. I guess it's all about grooming, right? So I did not know. This is kind of a boring photo, but it tells a story that how we're doing and learning how to do different things on trips, because, when you go with your children, you do what your children wants to do. But this time, you have to do more grown-up things. And so I didn't know if I really liked it in a 4x6. So again, I printed in a wallet. It depends. Is my story going to be focused more on this or not? So again, I don't make those decisions when I print my photos. It's just that I know sometimes when I print a 4x6 photo, I don't really like it. So sometimes I like it better in a wallet. So that's just what I decide to do. So some of these may land in a 4x6. I had one of a pretty seashell. And I thought that was at the flea market. I thought that was pretty. So I may do a couple again in 4x6 and the rest in wallets. But I'm definitely going to try to get 10. Okay, that's what I'm definitely going to try to do. And then when you come back in segment 2, I will have my papers decided on. And I will have them adhered. I will have my photos decided. And I may have to mat them. Ooh, don't know how that's going to work, okay? Because matting photos does take time. And then the best thing we're going to do is we're going to play with visual triangles again. That's what this series is all about. And so what are we going to do for a visual triangle in this band design? I'm going to show you how we're not going to do a visual triangle. Oh, now you say, why would you do that? Because remember, when we're playing with these go-to designs, the happy horizontal, the grid, and now the band, that's just a design. You don't have to do it. It's just something fun. It's something different to learn, because you don't want your pages to all look the same, because it gets boring doing the same. Now, even though I love the happy horizontal, even after a while, that would get boring. Okay, so you got to spice things up. So it's the same way when you're doing your embellishments. Sometimes it's good to throw the rules out the window and not even do a visual triangle. So we're going to come back and have a little bit of fun with that. Okay, so hang on. I will keep coming back playing with this washi and our border strippers. Yes, hang on. Okay, we are back for segment 2, and we are going to play and play and play with embellishments. So get all the fun things out. Absolutely. So you can see I have my papers adhered, my photos are adhered, but that's it, okay? And we'll talk about where the papers landed in segment 3. And so what I'm going to do is we are going to work in this segment where we're not going to pay any mind to a visual triangle. We're just going to play with embellishments. So where am I going to play? Of course, you know, I have a spot here, I have a spot here, I have all this down here, and I have all this down here. So what are we going to play with? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play off of these banners down here, because I took 2 of my papers and I put them on, you know, I stacked them on top of each other, gave one a fishtail. Okay, and so that's what I'm going to play with. That's what I'm in the mood for, and so I can even bend up the fishtails. You can always do that for a little bit of dimension on your page. Okay, you can even take a little bit of foam tape and put to the back of that. Now, someone had asked, I wanted to lay this here because I know I'm going to get a glare on my photo. Someone had asked if you can still get Scotch foam tape on, you know, mounting tape on Amazon. Yes, you can. You just have to look around for it because sellers change so much. You know, nothing's sold by Amazon anymore. But you can also look at a Dollar Tree. This is where this came from. $1 for this whole roll. You can't beat that, okay? But yes, you can still get it on Amazon. That big, monstrous Scotch roll, you absolutely can. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to slide this up. And so then what we're going to do is we're going to focus on this right here, okay? And so I'm going to show you a quick way how to do an embellishment row, because we're not going to do an embellishment triangle, okay? Something fun. I'm not going to pay attention to this right here at all, okay? I'm simply going to play. I'm not going to be worried about a visual triangle, whether it's on my left or on my right, or in, you know, in conjunction to both. I'm not going to do that. So I already have my embellishments laid out here, because that is, I think, other than picking papers and putting papers together, I could do that every day. All day, every day. But then also too, playing with embellishment clusters, because then it's just picking those supplies that reinforce your story without you having to say a single thing. Absolutely. Sometimes you can get away with no journaling if you pick really good embellishments. True story. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm pretty sure I'm in frame. I just want to bring things a little closer. So here are my embellishments, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, when I picked my embellishments, I started from here and I worked my way in. And so basically what I'm going to do is whatever I put on the left, I'm going to put on the right, but it's not going to be the same thing necessarily. Maybe it's the same size or same type of embellishment. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So let's start here on the right, or on the left. And so I have and I guess maybe I could slide this in a little bit. I have this die cut, okay, just came from my die cut pack. And of course I have a flare. Okay, so then I'm just going to keep on working over. And then what I do is sometimes I'll work with my biggest, okay? So right here is now what I'm going to fill in, okay? So I just find things that are different sizes, different shapes, and then also too to tell my story. So of course, remember in layout 2, I had that beach sticker, okay? I had this beach sticker, so I thought, well, that would be good. I could put that there, okay? And of course, everything when I'm done, I'll just tell you about that in a minute. Okay, so then, now I have some fabric chipboard. Okay, I have that. And then I have another die cut. And now I have some puffies. Okay. And what I will do is just stagger this. So as these embellishments are going in the row, that is where your eye is going to go to. Okay. And then of course I can add in some color of some red. There's a geotag. Okay. And I will just play with these to get this space filled up. Not completely filled up where everything looks tight and concise, but you know, just a nice array, a nice sampling of supplies, absolutely. So of course then there's nothing wrong with finishing off with some enamel dots. I just love enamel dots, absolutely. Okay, and so then we have a couple more here, okay? And then we have 2 little baby ones here, okay? Now some of my stickers are on wax paper, And when I'm playing around, that might not even stick. When I'm playing around with embellishments that are really sticky, sometimes, you know, if you put it on paper, just try to figure out where it's going to go. It'll rip your paper. So wax paper is the trick for that. Okay, so that is what I did. Okay, so there I have enamel dots sprinkled throughout. I mean, really, that's about the only thing I have the same. Okay, so you can see in this embellishment row, I have stickers, I have flare, I have die cuts, I have fabric chipboard, I have puffy and enamel dots, and also too some geotags, which are in, you know, epoxy as well. So I would hear all of that, but then when I do that embellishment row, I'm just going to keep coming over here, and I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, and hopefully I'll stay in frame. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this right on top of this, okay? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a mirror image of this. So you see here, over here on the left, how I have a bigger embellishment, because that's where I started. So this time on the right, okay, my right page is on the bottom here, I'm going to start here and work my way in, okay? Because that's the opposite of how I did my left page. Okay, so here I have my big die cut, okay? So you're going to see whatever I put here, I'm going here, okay? And then, of course, you know, I got a flare, so I'm going to put a flare there. Yeah, flare there, absolutely. Okay, and so then, of course, what do I have next? I have a long rectangle sticker. Okay, so that's what I'm going to go with next, a long rectangle sticker. Now, I may move them up or down when I get to playing, you know, when I started hearing. Okay, so now what do I have now? I have a fabric star. So that's what I'm going to do again. Another fabric star. Absolutely. Fun, fun. And then what do I have next? I have another die cut. Okay, so there's a die cut. And then I have a puffy sticker. A puffy sticker. Okay, and then I ended with an October afternoon round sticker of the anchors, and so I'm going to end with a crab. Absolutely, because we always get crab legs on our trip. Okay, and again, as far as spacing, I'll do that when I adhere things down. But as you can see, well, let me just keep on finishing, because I had a geotag here, so I'm going to put, let's see, where am I going to put that? That was on my rectangle, so I will put that there. And then I just have to follow up with 5 enamel dots. Or I think there was 3. Yeah, I think there was 5. Okay, so I have 2 little ones here. I'm going to put my 2 little ones there. And again, it's just exactly what I did on the left. It's just I now worked from the outside inward. Very, very fun. Okay, and I have an enamel dot there. And then 2 more here. Okay, and that's how I did that. Okay, so let me put them side by side. Okay, of course my flare will probably move. Okay, and I'm going to move this up just a little bit so you can see. But that's what I did. I just worked from... Now, someone would say, well, how long would this take? I was watching a video, so I don't know. But I really don't spend a lot of time doing this, but I don't rush it because I enjoy this, okay? And I think whatever part of the process, when it comes to crafting and scrapbooking, whatever is your process, it's okay to take your leisurely time because you enjoy it so much. That's the part where you can just relax and have fun and play with supplies. And doing embellishment triangles, embellishment clusters, embellishment rows, this is where I have fun, okay? And so all this did was bring all this color down to here, emphasize, yeah, like superpower, okay? But again, whatever I had on the left, okay, I started here on the right, and then I just worked my way in with the same type of embellishments. Very, very easy to do. And so when you're doing something like this, you can start with your outer and choose similar elements and go inward. Okay, so whatever you choose here, choose for something for there. Or what you can do is work on this row and then find something similar to go with that row. And that's exactly what I did. I started with my left and I played and I went the whole way here. And then what I did was I started here and then I worked my way in, okay? Because it was just funner that way. Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't have anything the same, I think I lost an enamel dot already. Oh my goodness. There's supposed to be an enamel dot here. Where did it go? Maybe underneath my page. Don't you just love when you lose embellishments? Absolutely. But I need an enamel dot there. Okay, I don't want to forget. Where would it land? Oh, it's right there. It's on my lap. Huh. Okay, there we go. Okay, I do not like to lose things. And I will tell you, yesterday I was sweeping my floor in my room. And, you know, of course, I was using a new sweeper I got, and I thought, you know, I better double check to make sure there's nothing on my floor, because nothing would be worse for your sweeper than to sweep up a brad or a resin piece or a piece of flare. You know what I'm talking about. So I do, if I lose something, I make sure I try to find, especially a brad, because that would not be good for your sweeper. But we know that. Okay. So what was I saying? Whatever I had here, I tried to replicate, and if I didn't, I found something similar. But there were some things I exactly replicated, and that was these fabric suns, and these also too my enamel dots, and then of course flare. They just have a different image, but it's still flare. Okay. And if something had wording, then I made another piece that had wording. And so that is how simple to do an embellishment row. So you see that when I was building this, I didn't pay mind to where my title is going to go. It may go on the left or the right, or where my journaling is going to go, or even thinking about a visual triangle. I just didn't. I just played in a row. The triangle went out the window. So I wanted to show that in this segment, that when you're playing with embellishments, you do not have to worry about the visual triangle all the time. Okay, you just don't. You can just simply take your embellishments and have fun with them. Okay, but now it's always easy when you have an embellishment row like this. You can tie things in, and when you come back in segment 3, I will show you how I tied everything in. But I wanted to show that you can simply just play. I think that's what this whole series is about. Of course, it's summertime, but it's just play. And so if you don't quite have visual triangles down pat, if you don't know how to do an embellishment cluster, don't worry about either one of them. Just play with your supplies and just simply go in a row. It's very simple like that. And you'll notice that every embellishment I have has to do with my story. It's about our trip, the palm trees, the anchors, crabs, paradise, enjoy. I'm trying to enjoy. Okay, and then those were a couple words that I put because I know as I'm doing this layout and I'm rethinking about, you know, when we went on that trip, there were some things I kept trying to tell myself. Try to be happy, try to enjoy it, try to smile. And so those are the words I used, you know. And then, you know, life is an adventure. That's what I keep telling myself. Roam, explore, discover, get out and do some things. So everything I chose does have a purpose. And I always say I'm not one of these people that I'll put a watermelon on a ski page unless I'm eating watermelon going down the slopes. Yes, it doesn't matter how well it matches. If it doesn't emphasize and help me record my story, I'm not going to use it. So that's just an easy way to do it. But then of course, again, if I didn't want to do a single bit of journaling, this right here acts as your journaling. Oh yeah, that's fun. That is absolutely fun. Okay, so that's what I have for segment 2. Come back and I'll have a finished layout and we'll talk about where the papers landed, what I added, and even more summer fun. Okay, hold on. Okay, I am back with layout number 3 in our 4-for-4 series, and does this not scream summer? Absolutely. And the funny thing is that this was in April. So it goes to show you that color and the colors in your papers can definitely evoke mood and feel every single time. Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about where the papers landed and the photos and a little bit of fun, a little bit of trick. Absolutely. Okay, so my 7x12 paper, which was my red and white stripe, of course, landed right there. Okay, and then of course my 4 1.5x12, they landed here on the bottom, and all I did was stack them on top of each other and gave one a fishtail. I talked about that in segment 2. And then my 1.5x12 is this little wimpy little beach ball, and it's right there. Okay, so I used every one of those papers, didn't have any leftovers. But what I did to make my band wider is that I incorporated washi. And so this yellow anchor, washi, this orange dot, washi, and this turquoise, washi, through an edge punch. So the yellow and orange was direct to paper, and then the turquoise was on some white paper and then ran through my edge punch, because that's the only way you can do washi as a decorative element, is to put it on paper first before your edge punch. So that's all I simply did, is I made my band wider. Okay, now you'd say, well, why did you stop there? And I'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay, so of course then you would see that I had these embellishments row. Yes, and it made me think of a restaurant row. If you've been to Myrtle Beach, you know what I'm talking about, because they have restaurant row. So this is our embellishment row. Absolutely too fun. So of course, what was I saying? I did get 10 photos on here, but if you want to look around, I actually got 11 photos on here, so I snuck an extra one on there. So where would it be? I'll show you in just a minute. So of course, with my 4x6 photos, when I printed them, I already printed them with a border, so that was easy peasy. All I did was adhere it to the cardstock, not hard. And then all of my wallets, okay, is that I adhered them to a white mat because it makes them pop, okay? And so what I wanted to show is a quick tip and something fun, is that if you have a lot of paper, on your layout, or if you have a lot of colors of paper, or you have a lot of patterns, you have a lot of busyness going on in your layout. And if you want to make your photos stand out, here's a little tip that you can do. And I noticed this myself when I was looking through my albums several years ago, and I noticed the layouts that I liked the most was when my photos were matted, not especially because I use a lot of color, I use a lot of patterns. So I noticed when my photos were matted, I liked my layouts better. So of course, here is just a simple photo on a very busy multicolor paper. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, and it makes for a quick page. You just slap and stick. However, if you want your photos to pop, simply putting that on that white mat, look how that pops now. It just does. That is the trick of using a white mat on a busy photo, a dark photo, or a high energy photo, or if your photos have a lot of color. That's the absolutely best way to do it, is put it on a white mat. Now I think matting a photo, regardless of whether it's white or not, makes a great, I think that just beefs up your design a little bit more. But when you have a lot of color, especially during summer layouts, or if you have a dark photo or busy photos, that white, that is a game changer. I love matting my photos with white. And of course, I just did all of my wallets. I kept them all the same size when I cut them down, so that way when I matted, it made my matting process go a little quicker because it was all the same size. Okay, so where did I get that extra photo in? Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is right here. I took 2 photos. I wanted both of them, but yet I didn't want to sacrifice my design because I just wanted to get 10 on there and be done, and I didn't need the whole photo of both of those wallets. So I cut my Vera Bradley one in half, and this one, we visited a place, and beside it there was a sign in the window. It says, "Put a little south in your mouth," and I loved that. Okay, I think sometimes I'm a Southern girl at heart, but anyways, I just took those 2 photos, basically cut them in half and made them a wallet size just together, and the bottom one is overlapped on the top. So that is a quick little tip and a trick to get an extra photo on there if you don't want to sacrifice your design. And I'll tell you why I didn't want to sacrifice my design, because my papers are so busy, so colorful. My embellishment row is so busy, so colorful. What I need is something not colorful, and that would be this right here. To my left and to my right, this is all white. And when you're dealing with something with so much color and so much energy, you need a place for your eye to rest, and here is where your eye is resting. That's why you can kind of take in everything that this layout has to offer, because your eye has a place to rest, and your eye has a place to rest. Absolutely. So when you're dealing with that, don't think that you have to always cover everything up, because sometimes your eye does need that white space. And so absolutely, that worked to my benefit. And so that's why that extra photo, I put 2 on 1, because I didn't want to cover this up. I definitely wanted to keep that open, light and airy, because everything else is just, yeah, man, it's in your face. Bright lights, baby. Absolutely. Okay, so now let's talk about letting your pattern papers work for you. So in my case, my red and white stripe, you see that I have a thin red stripe. So what I did to make things easier for me is that I actually used the stripe, the red stripe in my paper, to act as my margin for my spacing for my photos, even up here. It just makes the process go a lot quicker if you can use a design in your paper. Graph paper is really good for that because you can line things up easily. But then also too, if you have stripe paper, that stripe can really work to your benefit. And so that's what I did. And then of course, then the margin here is a different type of stripe. So you get 2 different looks with the same piece of paper. I love when that happens. And I will tell you something I have been learning over the last year, a couple years really, is that when you're using a T-square, okay, because I use a T-square every single time I scrapbook. And so if you start to notice that your T-squares rulers are not laying exactly flat anymore, it's probably time to replace them, because they are kind of flexible, kind of a little bit of a cheap product, what, $3. So when they're not laying flush to your paper, it's time to replace them. Because sometimes I will use my T-square, I line things up and they don't look straight. I'm like, oh, I must have some wiggle room in my T-square. So every so often, you know, it depends on how much you use them, you have to replace those T-squares. But I am on the lookout for a permanent T-square in my space. I will not give up till I find a quality T-square for scrapbooking. This is okay. This is portable and this is affordable, but it's not, you know, it's not dependable. I'll put it that way. Absolutely. Okay. So now let's talk about adhesives, because If you notice over here on the left, I have my title and it says a couple times, and then I put the number 2 in the middle, and I did a little bit of an arch, just something a little fun because everything's kind of boxy. And then also too, I made my couple, the word couple, go into my photo, you know, because I want to make sure everything's connective, and then your eye leads down, okay? And so, of course, I did have an acetate piece that says you and me, because I don't often get photos of hubby and I because I'm too short to take a selfie with him. And so what I use for acetate, and someone had asked me, so, excuse me, right here I have a bicycle acetate piece, and so if you were to flip it over, you see where the gold is. Well, when you flip it over, that's where the silver is. And so, of course, I have some removable adhesive, because that's how I adhere my acetate to my cardstock, you know, my binders, is that I just used removable adhesive. But I just use quick dry for all my acetate. Works really, really well. And so then what I do is then I just take my adhesive and I follow the design that's on the back, which coincides with the design on the front, and then it works really well if you just follow that design, and then when you adhere it down, you won't see a bit of your adhesive. Absolutely. Okay, so let me look at my notes here, because you know I had to make notes because I get it cattywampus. Okay, so let's talk about the photos here again, because you know I know some of you are so fur baby mamas, and so I wanted to show you this cute little, I think it was a German Shepherd, don't quote me on that, but it was a puppy we saw at the flea market, and he was so adorable. But I wanted to tell you what his sign said. His sign says, "Wet kisses, 10 cents or 3 for 25 cents, no IOUs, no pennies, please." How dear is that? So it was just one of those things I thought was cute. And so I said to my hubby, I said, put a dollar bill in there, because I'm taking a photo of him. So I didn't want any kisses from him, because I'm kind of funny about approaching an animal I don't know. But he was just about as cute as can be. So I thought that was sweet. I knew you fur mamas would love that. Okay, so now let's talk about leftovers, and then we're going to talk about our non-visual triangle. Okay, so for my leftovers, I have a stack of photos here. So all I did was flip over and put the date on the back. And someone recently asked me, what do I use to date my photos? And I had them here. I have, what I recommend are the slick writers, because you know the back of your photos is slick. And so these are by American Crafts. You can still find them at Hobby Lobby. And they come in a 3-pack, and they come in a fine, a medium, and a bold, all in one pack. I use all three of them interchangeably. And I think they're about $7 or $8, so, you know, use a coupon. But I really, really like them. I hope they never stop making these. I have bought these for years. I have some in my kitchen. I have some in my office. I use them here. Yeah, I even gave some to my little one. They're just really... And even my hubby uses them in his office. It's just really a really good slick writing. I think they work better than Sharpies, truth be told. Okay, so then my leftover papers, I didn't have any for layout number 3. So my layout leftovers from 1 and 2 are still floating here in my little separate pile here. Don't put them with your pre-cuts, because you don't want to get them mixed up. Okay, and I think that was it. All I wanted to say was leftovers. And oh yes, we did not do a visual triangle, did we not? No. So let's talk about that for a minute, because in this segment for layout number 3, I said we're not going to worry about visual triangles, because sometimes it's just fun to play. You don't have to worry about design principles. And so we did this embellishment row, and we just didn't care about visual triangles. But I want to show you something, because here on the left is my title, and then here on the right is my journaling. And you can see for my journaling, I did the same thing I did in layout 1 and layout 2, because this is the same trip. I'm going to put my journaling on top of this white scored mat. I just used my gully and my trimmer for that. And then, of course, I put a little sticker on here. Okay, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So I wanted to show that if you put your title to the left and your journaling to the right, or vice versa, and you do some embellishment somewhere, guess what happens? You inadvertently create a visual triangle without even knowing that's what you're doing. Look at that. Wham, bam, absolutely. How fun is that? So sometimes if you don't want to deal with a visual triangle, you're not quite there yet, or if you're not really, you think you're not good at clusters, don't worry about it, because if you keep your title on the left, your journaling on the right, and an embellishment somewhere in between those 2 points of interest, you're going to have a visual triangle, and you don't even mean to. That's the beauty of a visual triangle. So I wanted to show that, because when I was doing my embellishment row, I didn't even give a second thought about a visual triangle. But you'll notice the more pages you do, that your title, your journaling, and something else you put on your page will create that visual triangle when you didn't even mean to. How fun. Now, I did put an embellishment on top of my journaling block, and it wasn't for a visual triangle, but what would it be for? Because remember, I'm going to have writing here that would create my visual triangle. The reason I did this, and this is 2 stickers on top of each other on top of foam tape, and it was because I needed the dimension. It wasn't the visual triangle I was after. It was the dimension, because I have dimension down here with my flare. I have dimension over here with my thickers, so I wanted some dimension over here. So maybe sometimes when you're thinking about a visual triangle, it isn't always a pattern or a color or an embellishment. Sometimes it's texture. So for me, it was dimension. Okay, I wanted to get some dimension up there because it felt a little off balance without that up there. So I want to say something too, because I know I have some new scrapbookers to this channel. If you want to save some money right from the get-go, and chipboard is more expensive than stickers. So I always suggest forget the chipboard, because buy the sticker or the sticker pack or the sticker sheet, because then you can use foam tape to give you that dimension of chipboard, because chipboard is getting more expensive. Of course, everything is, but then chipboard is, your dimensional element, but you can get more for your bang using a sticker sheet, or buying a sticker sheet or a sticker pack, and then just putting it on foam, giving you that chipboard feel. So the only way I buy chipboard is if it's very, very, very cheap, because you can get the same feeling of chipboard just with stickers. So I wanted to show that. If you want to save money, go for the stickers and let the chipboard be last on the list, because you can create your own faux chipboard using that foam tape. That's what I wanted to cover. Okay, so I think that's all I have for layout number 3. Come back in a few days and we're going to work on layout number 4 and perhaps 12 photos on a 2-page. Let's see if we can get it done. Absolutely. So there may be a couple bloopers, because there's always a little bit of bloopers around here. So come back to RTS, because you never know what we're going to do. Bye. Okay, I'm back with my finished layout number 3 in our 4for4 series, and you can tell it screams summer. Absolutely, but this was actually in April. So isn't that fun how papers can really what? really, oh. Summer loving had me a blast. Yeah, okay, stop. Okay, I am back with... What? I don't even know. What number is this? What day is this? Who am I? Come on. Get it together, woman. Okay, I'm back with my layout number 3 in this 4for4 series, and does it not scream summer? Absolutely. And this was even done in April. Absolutely. The trip was absolutely... Okay, so you can see with my title here on the left, it says couple time. And then I use the thicker, this red thicker that says number 2 in the middle as a little bit of a filler. And of course, to give me a title that is kind of big. And also too, I made it in an arch and I touched it. No, I didn't touch it. Oh, Lord. Touched. Okay, so over here for my title on the left, I have couple time, and then I took the number 2 and put it in the middle, just as a representation, because there was 2 of us. And then, of course, I put it in an arch, had it touching my photo. And then, but I will be honest with you and tell you that that was not my original title. My original title is Time to Couple, because I'm thinking that's what we're doing, right? We're spending time together as a couple, and time to couple, okay? Because that's what time it is now. When you have no little ones left, it's time to couple. So I thought, I better run that past my little one, because, she always has an idea as to whether I should or should not do something. And so I said, does that sound suggestive? Does that sound naughty? She goes, yeah, Mom, you can't use that, time to couple. And I'm like, well, I didn't know. I guess I'm getting too old, but who knew? Naughty, naughty, risky, risky. Who knew? I shouldn't say that.